Your cat walks into the room with its tail straight up. You barely notice it. It's just a tail. But that thin vertical line is one of the only signals your cat owns that functions almost like a spoken word, and it is aimed directly at you. Not at the room. At you. Most people read a cat's tail the way they read a dog's. A moving tail means a happy animal. A still tail means a calm one. Both of those assumptions are wrong, and they are wrong in a way that quietly changes how you treat your cat every single day. So what is that tail actually saying? Start with the vertical one. Behaviorists call it the tail up. The base lifts, the length goes straight, and often the very tip curls forward like a small question mark. In the 1990s, a researcher named Charlotte Cameron-Beaumont wanted to know whether cats were really reading this shape or whether people were simply imagining meaning into it. So she stripped away everything else. No scent, no sound, no real cat at all. She showed cats flat black silhouettes, one outline with the tail raised, one with the tail lowered. The cats responded to the outlines alone. They walked toward the raised tail shape more readily, and many lifted their own tails in return. To the lowered tail shape, they hung back. Some swished, some stayed put entirely. Think about what that means. The information was not in the cat. It was in the shape. The tail up is not a mood leaking out of your cat. It is a message being sent. And here is where it gets stranger. Cameron-Beaumont, along with the British anthrozoologist John Bradshaw, noted something odd about where this signal comes from. The tail-up greeting is essentially absent in the African wildcat, the solitary desert ancestor every house cat on Earth descends from. Wildcats do not approach each other with tails raised because wildcats do not really approach each other at all. Among the larger cats, only lions, the single social species in the group, do anything comparable. So your cat performs a greeting its own ancestors never needed. Why would that be? Because somewhere in the last 10,000 years, cats stopped living alone. Grain stores drew rodents, rodents drew cats. Cats that could tolerate crowding survived better than cats that fought. And a solitary predator suddenly needed to say the one thing it had never had to say before. I am approaching. I mean nothing by it. Researchers Simona Cafazzo and Eugenia Natoli watched this play out in the free-roaming cat colonies of Rome. They tracked who raised their tail to whom. The pattern was consistent. Tail-up signals traveled upward through the group, offered more often by lower-ranking cats toward higher-ranking ones, and the encounters that opened with a raised tail overwhelmingly ended in friendly contact. Rubbing, sitting together, grooming. The ones that opened without it did not. Your cat raises its tail to you every day, which means you are not standing outside that system, watching it. You are inside it, but the tail is not one signal. It is several, layered on top of each other, and only some of them are voluntary. Run your hand down a cat's spine, and you'll feel roughly 20 small vertebrae, tapering to almost nothing. Threaded through them are muscles fine enough to move the tip independently of the base. That's how a tail can say two things at once. Consider the bottlebrush, the tail that doubles in width in under a second. That is piloerection. Tiny muscles at the root of each hair, called erector pili, contract and stand the hair on end. Here is the part that matters. Your cat does not decide to do that. It runs on the sympathetic nervous system, the same automatic circuit that dumps adrenaline into the bloodstream and widens the pupils. It fires before thought arrives, so a puffed tail is not a threat your cat is making. It is a nervous system going off in public. Now consider the thrash, the heavy sweep of the tail against the floor while the rest of the cat sits perfectly still. This is the one that gets people bitten, because in a dog, that motion often means welcome. In a cat, it means conflict. Two impulses pulling at once, stay and go, tolerate and escape. You've seen it. Your cat is on your lap, purring, half asleep. The tail begins to move, slow at first, then faster. Then a hand gets caught. Nothing changed suddenly. You just missed the warning because the warning wasn't loud, and the smallest one is easiest to miss of all. The tip twitch, a cat at the window, body frozen, only the last inch of the tail flicking. That's focus, tipping into frustration. Prey it cannot reach. A bird behind glass. Nothing wrong. Nothing relaxed either. Then there's the wrap. Your cat comes past your ankle and the tail curves around your leg as it goes, deliberately, and keeps walking. Cats do this to each other too, laying the tail across another cat's back. It is not accidental contact. It's a small act of affiliation from an animal that does not hand those out cheaply. Here's the twist you probably haven't considered. Your cat is not fully in control of the message. The raised base is deliberate, a chosen greeting. The bristled hair is involuntary, pure autonomic reflex. The twitching tip sits somewhere between the two, which means the tail is broadcasting more than your cat intends. A cat can walk toward you with its tail up, genuinely offering a friendly greeting, while the last 2 inches flick with tension about something else entirely in the room. Nothing else about a cat is that honest. Cats are famously good at masking discomfort. Illness gets hidden. Pain gets absorbed into stillness. Veterinary behaviorists watch tails closely for exactly this reason. It's one of the few channels that isn't fully edited before it reaches you. So watch for it tomorrow morning. You'll walk toward the kitchen. Your cat will appear from somewhere, cut across your path, and the tail will come up before it arrives. Look at the tip. See whether it hooks forward into that soft question mark or stays straight and stiff. Watch whether it brushes your calf as the cat passes. That is your cat opening the conversation in a language a desert-dwelling ancestor never spoke, invented somewhere between the grain stores in your hallway and pointed at you specifically. Then watch it in the evening, when you sit down and the cat settles, and 40 minutes in, that tail starts to move against the couch. Stop before the 10th stroke, not because your cat is angry, because it told you, and now you can actually hear it. Your cat walks into the room with its tail straight up. It isn't nothing. It's a greeting 10,000 years in the making, chosen by an animal that had no reason to greet anyone, given to you.